If I could ask you, what is the number one thing that you should be doing as a man, what do you think your answer would be? I'll tell you the number one thing. But before we get into that, what's up, y'all? It's Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. If you could, please hit that like button, subscribe button, notification button. Make sure you stay up to date with all of my future Teachable Tuesdays content. Today, fellas, this video is for you. So, ladies, if you are watching this video, still feel free to keep watching and share this with a man that you might know. It could be your boyfriend, your husband, your best friend, your friend, your cousin, your brother, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think this is a very, very important topic to talk about. It's not going to be long. It's going to be quick, but very, very impactful. The number one thing that a man should concern himself with, besides God, of course, obviously that's really the number one thing, but as far as himself, is the aspect of expansion and how he can make his life better. I'll say it again. The aspect of expansion in terms of how he can make his life better. In other words, how does that man continuously progress forward in being a better version of him for himself, a better version for him for God, and a better version of him for the people that are around him. Now, what made me think about this topic was, I'm going to be very transparent right now. I am in a process of, I'm going to say, building. I'm not going to say rebuilding, because I honestly feel like as a man, I haven't built enough structure to have anything knocked down for a rebuild. You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes as men, we have things that happen to us in life and we have to rebuild. I don't think I'm in a rebuilding process. I think I'm in a true foundational building process. I think I'm at the age where I have started finding my footing. I'm finally getting an understanding of what it means to be a man, what it means to build from a place of financial stability, what it means to build from a place of mental stability, physical stability, spiritual stability, so on and so forth. Because there's a couple of principles I always surround myself with. It's always the principle of growing with God, growing within myself from a physical standpoint, making sure I'm in top physique shape, growing from a mental standpoint, making sure I go to therapy, making sure I keep my mental in check, and growing from a financial standpoint, making sure I'm saving my money, I'm making wise decisions, and I'm actually doing my best to advance my financial resources and figure out how I can get more, right? And not necessarily from a selfish standpoint, not saying that it's all about the money, but just making sure I'm good, right? So the reason why I bring up the aspect of a man should always be looking to expand in the aspect of moving forward is because, fellas, we should always be not just on our purpose. I mean, you've heard that time and time again from me and from many other men, but we should also be thinking about what can we do to better ourselves to get to the next level, right? Let's pretend that you are a man who has a wife, you have kids, so on and so forth, right? You're always going to be aiming to get to the next level. Why? Because you want to make sure you are of provision for them. You know, your job as a man at that point is to provide for your wife and provide for your kids. You're the head of the household. So you're making sure everything is straight on that level. But what if it comes to the aspect of you being by yourself? Let's say you're like myself and you're single, right? And you may not have a woman in your life right now. You may not have kids in your life right now. Well, you should still be advancing yourself forward in preparation for that time comes, for when that time comes. Now let's pretend maybe you don't want to be married. Maybe you don't want kids. There's some men out there that are like that, and I think it's perfectly fine. If that's the case, you should still be advancing your life forward, because guess what? No matter who else is in your life, it starts with one person physically. And who is that person? That person is you. I was thinking about that today while I was cleaning up my apartment, and just like thinking to myself, Marcus, you are at a point in your life where it's time for you to take over the world. How can you move forward in doing such? How can you push your finances more? How can you be a better you overall? Now, for me, I'm somebody who does want a wife and kids one day. So I know eventually my agenda is going to be to push forward for them. But I can't push forward to them yet for them because I don't have them yet. So it starts with me. And even when I do have them on my picture, it still ultimately starts with me. I have to stay grounded in making sure that I'm doing the best that I can do and allowing God to move in my life the way that he's going to move. So that way I can constantly be pushing the boundaries. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not saying that if you have these people in your life that you shouldn't be doing it for them. But ultimately, if you're not doing it for you, if it doesn't start with you, if you don't have an inherent desire as a man to be better as a man, then it's really not going to go anywhere. And I think for me, that was the missing piece that I had all these years. I kept trying to figure out, why do I remain stuck? Why does it feel like I'm not pushing myself forward? It's like in some areas, I'm getting there, and in other areas, I'm not. And I had to begin to realize, well, dang, you know what? Maybe I'm not moving forward because it's not starting off with me. I used to be the type of man that would say, I want to get myself together for when I have a wife and kids one day, right? And I think that's a good desire to have. I think that's a godly desire to have. But then I had to question myself, Marcus, what if you don't get a wife and kids one day? Or what if you don't get it within the time frame you think you're going to get it in? Or even bigger than that, why don't you just do it for yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, you are a man. Your job, one of your jobs on this planet is to do what? Is to be dominant. And what do I mean by being dominant? Being dominant doesn't necessarily mean that you take things by force, but it means you go for what you want to go for, and you don't allow anything or anyone to stop you from getting what you want. Right? Within reason, of course. There are certain things where you do need to just be mindful, you know what I'm saying? But as far as things you want to accomplish in life, like you want that job, you go get that job. And this part goes for both men and women. You know what I'm saying? You want that new position at your job, go get it. You want that money, you go get it. You want that physique, you go get it. You want to go talk to that woman, you go talk to her. Now, if she tell you no, back off, move on to another one. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Just knowing and having the confidence to take over, right? Because the only person that can ultimately hold you back as a man is who? You. Nobody else can hold you back, right? Nobody else can dictate what you want to do. Now, of course, follow the guidance from the man upstairs. Don't forget that. But ultimately, when you want something as a man, you got to go get it. You have to be willing to push the boundaries forward and get out of your comfort zone. So to my fellas, and this ain't just for y'all, this is for me too. I'm talking to myself just like I'm talking to y'all. You want something? Go get it. Stop being scared. It is time for us as men to expand. Time for us to move forward. Time to take over territories. There are certain territories in our lives that are untouched. And it's time to start doing what we need to do to make sure we cover ground that hasn't been covered. All right? So I hope this helps, fellas. I hope this encourages somebody today. May God be with you as always. This is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Love you guys. Fellas, let's work. See you next time.